Tucked between California's Temblor and Caliente mountain ranges and isolated from the bustling San Joaquin Valley lies the Carizzo Plain. This internationally recognized reserve is the last stronghold for many species found almost nowhere else. Join us as we explore the amazing diversity of plants and animals that make their home in this vast, arid, and seemingly inhospitable landscape. With the first light of day spilling over the Temblor Mountains, the morning awakens with the flute-like song of the western meadowlark. The boldly colored meadowlark builds an elaborate nest using well-camouflaged entrance tunnels to hide their movements from predators. Daylight also brings another avian resident of the Carizzo out, the fierce loggerhead shrike. Best known for their unusual behavior of impaling their prey on thorns, shrikes are the only songbirds with a bill specialized for severing the necks of other birds, small lizards, and mice, all of which they feed to their hungry chicks. But shrikes aren't the only predators taking advantage of these rich hunting grounds. Prairie falcons hunt over the plain throughout the day in search of food for their nestlings. They are magnificent flyers, and cruising at speeds of 45 miles an hour, can easily hunt over an area 20 miles from their nest site. Pronghorn antelope were hunted to extinction on the Carizzo in the late 1800s. They were reintroduced in the 1980s and are now seen in small numbers as they wander the plain. The sun rises quickly, and with it, so does the temperature, allowing the impressive diversity of snakes and lizards to leave the safety of their burrows to forage on the rapidly warming surface. The blunt-nosed leopard lizard is one of the most beautiful and highly endangered lizard species in California. They thrive in the sparse, arid vegetation where they scurry quickly to capture prey, all the while keeping an eye out for predators. They cannot live in areas taken over by dense, invasive grasses that have spread over much of the plain. Luckily for the lizards, burrows dot the entire plain, providing refuge for them and many other inhabitants. This network of burrows is constantly being maintained by abundant small mammals. The chipmunk-sized San Joaquin antelope squirrel is abundant in Carizzo, but is gone from many of the smaller reserves. The antelope squirrel thrives here in the sparsely vegetated areas. Scientists believe its larger cousin, the California ground squirrel, which inhabits dense grassy vegetation, may be forcing the antelope squirrel away as its habitat is taken over by invasive grasses. For most of the vertebrates in this arid land, life is a balance between the need to find food at the risk of being preyed upon, so a careful watch is maintained for predators. Rattlesnakes are one of those predators. They locate their prey by sensing their victim's heat with organs located between their nostril and eye. After their initial venomous attack, rattlesnakes track their victims down by tasting the air with their forked tongue. They often remain still to avoid being seen, but their rattle provides a clear warning signal when danger comes too near. As the sun goes down and dusk settles in, nocturnal creatures begin to make their appearance for a night of hunting. The secretive American badger is a ferocious predator with powerful limbs and claws, perfectly adapted for digging through the Carizzo's hard-packed soil. They can easily unearth a ground squirrel den. Ground squirrels aren't the only mammals that fall prey to the badger. Under the cover of darkness, giant kangaroo rats often face a similar fate. Giant kangaroo rats are not really rats at all, but highly specialized rodents adapted for arid environments. they obtain all the water they need from the seeds they eat. The kangaroo rat's complex social life revolves around a system of burrows called a precinct, where they signal to each other by drumming their feet on the ground. They gather and stack seeds in piles to dry them and then store them in chambers within their burrow. These activities influence the plants that grow on their mounds and can change the vegetation over a surprisingly large area, earning their title of ecological engineer. As the kangaroo rat works through the night, it must watch out for the kit fox prowling through the precincts hunting for unwary prey. The kit fox, North America's smallest relative of the domestic dog, is no bigger than a house cat. In late winter, they may give birth to as many as 6 pups. The female will stay in her den nursing the pups, while the male spends his time hunting for his growing family. A month after they're born, the pups are ready to begin exploring the new world above ground. Whether for developing skills or just for fun, there is no shortage of playful behavior around the den. By fall, the pups are full grown and on their own. They may travel 25 miles in search of a mate and a den of their own. Burrows are critical for avoiding predators and the heat, especially for animals that do not dig their own. The burrowing owl simply uses existing burrows. They are the only owl in North America that lays its eggs underground. Young owls, some only 10 days old, can be seen as they emerge from their burrows, eager to be fed when their parents return with food. Not far from the underground activity of the burrowing owl lurches the predatory California ebony tarantula. Throughout most of the year, these tarantulas rarely venture more than a couple of feet from their burrows. Once the spiders spin a silk lining around and over the entrance of their burrows, they wait for prey. These patient predators can feel the vibrations as prey moves across the silk, signaling to the tarantula that dinner has arrived. Another day dawns and lights up the valley floor. As the creatures of the night retire to their burrows, the daily cycle of life begins again on the Carizzo Plain. As much as life changes on the Carizzo from dawn to dusk, there are even more dramatic changes from the long dry season to the often short period when rains fall. Winter rains give rise to small bodies of water called vernal pools. Vernal pools are a unique habitat in the otherwise arid landscape of the Carizzo Plain. Although these areas may have been completely dry for years, aquatic animals almost magically appear when the rains arrive. The endangered longhorn fairy shrimp has adapted to the unpredictable nature of their vernal pool habitat by producing cysts that can survive decades without water. Cysts, which are embryos contained within a special shell, can hatch once the pool refills. These cysts can disperse by wind and by animals such as these avocets. Winter rains bring life to the vernal pools, and they also bring to life the many plant species that have been waiting out the dry, desolate summer. These plants, adapted for very dry conditions, grow and produce seed during the brief time that moisture is available to them. Some of these plants survive by going dormant, but many survive only as seeds, awaiting the next cycle of the life-giving rain. The Carizzo is known as one of the most spectacular displays of flowers in California, and harbors several species of endangered plants that survive in few other places. Today, the Carizzo is a classroom for conservation, a living laboratory where scientists and managers try to understand this unique ecosystem. As invasive grasses destroy native habitat, scientists seek to understand the best way to protect the plain's unique plants and animals. Recognizing the importance of protecting this ecosystem and its many endangered species, the Bureau of Land Management, California Department of Fish and Game, and the Nature Conservancy partnered together to protect what is now known as the Carizzo Plain National Monument. The Carizzo stands as the largest and most complete assemblage of the once vast San Joaquin ecosystem. With careful management and appreciation for the remarkable biological diversity, the Carizzo will remain a world-class reserve for protecting species found in few other places.